Alright guys, so I'm here to talk about the Vasyl Lomachenko fight that took place last night. Vasyl Lomachenko stops Jason Sosa in the 9th round after a dominant performance, pitching a shutout. And I really just wanted to ask, man, how much longer can this go on for? I mean, how much longer can Lomachenko bring in world-class opposition and make these guys look like absolute bums in the ring, man? I mean, it's fucking insane. Jason Sosa went 10 rounds with Nicholas Walters, and Nicholas Walters never put a dent in him, and he walked out with a draw. He went to the 11th round against Javier Fortuna, and he managed to get the stoppage. I believe he was behind on points. He was down earlier in the fight, so he, clearly showed a lot of game and a lot of toughness in that fight, and a lot of durability and stamina and heart, and punching power too, because he really did hurt Javier Fortuna in that 11th round. So clearly the guy was a decent puncher for the weight. And, those are the kind of fights that really make a fighter, make a champion, when they can come from behind and score a late knockout. It really speaks to their character, especially when they do it on the road. So this guy, Jason Sosa, was a serious contender, a former champion who had recently just been stripped of his belt. He was a world-class fighter. He was, okay. He beat Stephen Smith. He did that fight on the road. It was a completely one-sided domination. So this is a guy here in Jason Sosa that was expected to be a difficult night's work, a hard night's work for Lomachenko. And once again, just like with Gary Russell, just like with Rocky Martinez, just like with Nicholas Walters, Jason Sosa turned out to be a walk in the park. I mean, he could not even challenge Lomachenko. Now, don't get me wrong, Jason Sosa, he showed tremendous heart, tremendous courage, a tremendous chin. Nicholas Walters, he didn't take anywhere near as many shots as Sosa did, and Nicholas Walters gave up after 7. So clearly, Jason Sosa is a much more courageous and brave and durable individual than Nicholas Walters was. Sosa certainly he has much more game than Walters, put it that way. But he just couldn't put a dent in Lomachenko. He couldn't touch him. He couldn't land anything clean. Couldn't put Lomachenko under pressure, couldn't deal with the movements. Lomachenko was bouncing around that ring like a gazelle, coming in at all angles. It was like Jason Sosa was stuck in a wasp nest, man. I mean, he was getting stung constantly from all angles. He was swinging his arms, looking for big punches. Lomachenko was toying with him in there. I mean, there was times where Jason Sosa would miss, and Lomachenko would, emulate what Sosa did with his arms. He's like, listen, come on, you can't touch me, man. And that was fucking insane to watch, man. And I think Lomachenko, by the end of it, he developed a big respect for Sosa, because there was a moment where Sosa fell through the ropes and Lomachenko was acting like he wanted to help him in the ring, because I think Lomachenko understood at that point that the fight should have been over. And Sosa's corner agreed. They said that they would give him one more round. And then when he came back, he couldn't really, he didn't really show them that he had enough left in him to win the fight. And remember, this is a guy that came from behind to stop Javier Fortuna. So, clearly if they don't feel that he has an opportunity to come back late and rally, then pulling him out was a wise thing to do. And Lomachenko, he embraced him. He respected the heart and courage that Jason Sosa showed in there. But yeah, it was a fantastic performance by Lomachenko, good display of heart by Sosa. Lomachenko, man, fantastic boxer. It's got to be at least in terms of, not in terms of resume, but in terms of boxing skill and the eye test and ability and athleticism and what we see from his dominant victories. He has to be the top pound-for-pound fighter in the world right now. With Roman Gonzalez having lost his last fight, I know that technically we couldn't put him on the list, on the top of the list, I mean, as number 1. So I guess Lomachenko could take that spot. He really could. I mean, just in terms of what we see, he's fundamentally flawless. Hasn't really shown any chinks in his armor. I'm not even going to count the Salido fight, because let's be real, we know us that have watched the fight know what went on there, and we know that shouldn't even be considered a defeat. Okay, it was a disgraceful display of corruption in the sport of boxing, what went on in that fight. So yeah, Lomachenko, but he's a different fighter now. Okay, he's sitting down on his punches more. He's letting his hands go more, because remember, that was an amateur Lomachenko with only one professional fight going into that one. So Yeah, now Lomachenko is fully seasoned as a professional. He can hang with anybody, no matter what kind of experience they have over him. I mean, Jason Sosa had more fights than Loma, so clearly experience is not an issue. Okay, this guy has fought the best in his divisions and he's beaten them. Nicholas Walters was considered the #2 guy after Lomachenko, I believe. I mean, he also had some great victories over people like Donaire and Darchinian. So clearly Lomachenko, he can fight guys that have top level experience as a professional, and he makes these guys look like amateurs. Okay, he really does. It's fantastic. So I want to know, who do you guys think that could actually provide somewhat of a challenge? Now, I know that Mikey Garcia is the name that's being brought up. That's a good fight. I'll need to watch a little bit more of Mikey Garcia, because I have seen a bit of him, but I'll be honest, I haven't watched a whole lot of Mikey Garcia. He's not a fighter that I've paid that much attention to over the years, but I hear that I watched his last fight and he had a tremendous knockout. He also is quite big for the 135 division. I think he boxes at 135. Yeah, I'm sure he does. So that'll be a fight in a higher division. One name that's been talked about is Jorge Linares. Obviously, he had a good fight against Anthony Crawler recently, which he won. That was a rematch. I was at the fight. That was a very, very good performance from Jorge Linares. Very good movement, very good counter-punching ability. That counter left uppercut that he throws is very sneaky. He's a good slick boxer, Linares. A lot better than I initially thought he was. So that's an interesting match there. It's a good way to win 2 belts in a higher division, because I believe Linares is I think he's the WBC and WBA champion, is that right? And of course you've got the WBO champion, Terry Flanagan, who fought on the same night, last night. He defeated Peter Petrov. Not his best performance, but a winning one at that. That fight makes the most sense to me, the Flanagan one, because Lomachenko's the WBO champion at this weight, and he's held that belt at 2 divisions, so I don't see why not come over to the UK and fight Terry Flanagan. I'm sure Frank Warren would put up the money to get that fight in the UK, and get Loma over here to fight Terry, and I think Loma beats Terry. Don't get me wrong. That's right now, based on their more recent performances. I don't think Terry Flanagan's size would really be an issue. I think Lomachenko is fast enough and quick enough and skilled enough and experienced enough from the amateurs to know how to deal with a taller boxer, and he's probably fought a lot of southpaws in the amateurs too, and he's a southpaw himself, and I think that from what I saw from him facing people like Gary Russell, for example, who was a very fast southpaw, I think that Lomachenko would be able to figure out Terry Flanagan pretty quickly and win a wide decision. Now, the reason why I think that fight makes the most sense is because, one, it's for the WBO title, which, I mean, according to the WBO, I'm sure I remember situations where they would, if you hold a WBO title, you can move up in weight and then immediately be, in their rankings as a mandatory for the WBO in a higher division. So I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it's a fight that's easy to make. Frank Warren has done business with Top Rank before. Remember, he had Diego Magdaleno go over to face Terry Flanagan. So I was at that fight too, actually. So yeah, Top Rank, they've done a lot of business with Frank Warren in the past. So I'm sure that Lomachenko, Terry Flanagan is a fight that could be made. Terry Flanagan is obviously building up his name in the UK now, so if he were to get a fight with Lomachenko, I can assure you that over here that would be huge. There'd be a lot of intrigue in that one. So I think that's the most logical move for Vasyl Lomachenko. If he stays at the division he's at, 130, I don't really see the point in staying there, to be honest, because honestly, I think he's too good. I think he would beat Jezreel Corrales handily. If he wants that WBA belt, then that's the route to go, obviously. You've got Gervonta Davis. I think he holds, is it the IBF, Gervonta Davis? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the IBF he holds. But Gervonta Davis, I watched an interview this morning, and Gervonta Davis does not want anything to do with Vasyl Lomachenko. In fact, the interviewer asked Gervonta Davis in this particular interview. They said, "So I've been asked whether or not it would be possible for you to step in the ring with Lomachenko." And as soon as he said it, Gervonta Davis's big smile just disappeared, and he was like, "Oh no, not right now. I got to build up my name, my experience." And I was like, "Yeah, of course. I got nothing against that. Okay, he knows, he's being honest. He knows he's not ready for Lomachenko. You know, he's a young guy, he's inexperienced, he's just won his title, he's facing Liam Walsh next in the UK in a very tough fight, so, you know, let him get a bit more seasoned before going for a fight like Lomachenko, because, let's be real, he gets demolished in that fight, and it will probably ruin him as a fighter, so, I mean, I would like to see it, obviously, because it's a unification, but, you know, he has no chance, as it stands right now. He would need to be more seasoned before fighting Lomachenko. And I believe Francisco Vargas, he lost his title. He got beat by some other Mexican guy that I've never seen fight before. So I'll need to do some research on that guy. I can't even remember his name. But yeah, Gamboa is another name that's been talked about. Not really interested in that one. I think that's an easy fight for Loma. But yeah, I just think that for me, the most logical next move for Loma would be a Terry Flanagan fight, because, you know, like I said, that'll get him that WBO belt in a higher division, and it would help get him ready for an opponent like Manny Pacquiao, because obviously Manny Pacquiao is a fight that Bob Arum has, you know, could be looking to make, you know, a kind of a passing of the torch fight between Pacquiao and Lomachenko, and obviously if Lomachenko was to move up in weight and beat an undefeated southpaw, that would be good preparation. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. I think it was a fantastic performance. Great night of boxing. Might do a video for the other two fights if I find time later today. Usyk, you know, had a tough fight with Michael Hunter, but a winning one. He came through. He showed his heart as a champion. You know, had a lot of problems early on, but as soon as he found his timing and his rhythm, he was too much for Michael Hunter, and he outworked him, and he almost got Michael Hunter out of there in the last round too. So, good performance from Usyk. I thought he did good. And as for Yuneski Gonzalez versus Gvozdyk, Gvozdyk just blew the guy away. That was just complete and utter domination. Stylistically, it was a bad fight for Gonzalez, I think, because, you know, Gonzalez was coming forward and really swinging and being very wide, and, you know, when you've got a sharp shooting, very tough, compact guy, you know, with good amateur background, who throws nice straight counters like Gvozdyk, who's got a lot of punching power, you know, it was a recipe for disaster, wasn't it? But anyway, let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching.